On today's Minute of the Apes, Richard is having a little hair of the dog that bit him, or ape that bit him. I don't know which one's appropriate.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time and start Monday off with Hair of the Ape. So right away, Richard,
sounds so appealing.
Is it really bad? Are you needing?
No. I just had a little more tequila than I'm just a little.
Than he planned on.
A little more tequila.
You're a little worse for wear, but not too bad.
Right. Just a small headache.
Okay. Ooh, I can handle you feel a little. But when it comes to the headache stuff, I never do that one well.
Well, I totally off topic, but I did. My CrossFit gym had a CrossFit competition yesterday, and I was the DJ. So I had 9 hours of
going on.
Because when in a CrossFit competition, those people want to hear that kind of.
Do they really?
You don't want to listen to the Beatles while you work out.
Yeah, but
right?
I didn't know in a competition that they would play music.
Yeah.
I need to come to one of these one time because I really don't have any perspective on it.
I mean, it's got that kind of, when the clock is counting down, 3, 2, 1, go. It's
Then
got
music,
that you want to hear that kind of heavy multi,
right?
That very, very heavy kind of deep bass nectar, Dylan Francis. Maybe a little bit of kind of a remix of a Kanye song or something like that.
Okay.
That's just heavy and hard and fast to kind of get everybody going. And you see like the competitors just like on the side getting ready to go, and they're all just like, you get that nervous energy as they bounce the music, and the audience wants to hear that kind of, they don't want to hear
enthusiastic. You don't want to play classicals.
You don't want to play classic rock.
You don't want to play Blackbird by the Beatles and Blackbird singing the
people like to work out to different things, right? When we have our headphones on, we're running. Yeah, that works for that. But when you're in that competition environment,
mode,
you want to hear that kind of stadium heavy dance anthem just kind of come on.
Again, I just didn't know that you would play music during that. I thought the people would be uber serious and not want that kind of thing and just be zoned in on what they're doing.
No, they want it. It's interesting if you get into one of those competition events and you're on the floor and your workout is maybe 10 minutes in length or 15 minutes in length or 60 minutes in length. It's one of those things where you hear the music for like the first 30 seconds and then you're so in the zone of working out that all you hear is the beat and you don't really hear too much going on. But the attendees, because there's the spectators. They had risers set up with spectators all around it.
Right.
And this was a team competition, so you had other people on the floor that were not going yet. They all could hear it. So this
equates to, before you guys actually got here, the other podcast that I do with my friend Jeff, the other kind we recorded this morning, and he is all into watching gamers online.
Yeah.
And he really knows that culture. That says nothing to me. I love games, but I don't watch that. You come in here and talk about this, and I realize you do it. I look across at your lovely fit body every day.
Oh, hello.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you, the man looks good.
We're only up here 1 day a week. How are you looking at him every day? What are you doing?
I close my eyes and visualize. But, it's why I don't have Sean across from me. You're cute as you can be, but you don't have those arms.
All right, well, that does it for this CrossFit Minute.
Okay, so that's Monday. You know what? You keep on having hair of the ape. Let's talk about Minute 11. Sean, what's going on?
All right, we're going to start Minute 11 with Guard giving Zira a banana and ends with Cornelius saying they saw the Earth destroyed.
Here comes Minute 11 of Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Hello, Missy. Have a banana. Have it your own way, mate. Zira.
I'm not his mate. I'm yours.
Control yourself. I think they're trying to be kind.
This cage stinks of gorilla. Cornelius, where are we? What's happened?
I know where we are. I know what has happened. In some fashion, and I lack the intellect to know precisely how, we have traveled from Earth's future to Earth's past. But we saw the Earth destroyed.
All right, as of Minute 11, we have a planet's worth of humans plus 3 apes.
Boy, that's... I wonder if we're ever... I wonder how this countdown's going to go.
Going to change, yeah.
A planet of humans is just all-inclusive.
Well, no, actually, there's potential that it could change.
It could.
Yeah.
All right, so...
I can think of a couple of ways it could change.
So right away we start. We're in the cells. We've got the apes in the cells.
Yeah,
and we've got bad comb over Donald Trump wannabe.
Yeah, and we're getting full on the back of his head as he hands this banana to Zira,
which I'm sure
pats her on
is
the head.
all in proper zoo protocol of just feel free to reach through the cages and pet the animals and give them.
They're not going to bite you or anything like that.
We know nothing about them. They came through a spaceship, but hey, just feel free to manhandle them.
Well, right away, also you're listening to a enclosure that has every animal sound and the soundtrack behind it. I swear to God, it's like Elvis.
Lion.
I mean, we are seriously talking. This is a cross-pollination of animals.
They said they went to the sound effects library and said, "Give me zoo."
Which now that's the one thing that strikes me kind of funny in some of these original ones we watched. The production values being so different than what we're used to today, but also the sound. It was back then the idea that you had to give that large swath of, everything instead of just if you just heard something in the background.
Also, you just hear hyena.
Well, at the same time, my lovely beagle down there kind of snoring or
away,
snoring or something like that. So we got animal sounds behind it. Anyway, so.
That was just going to point out the phrase that the keeper says at the beginning, have it your own way, mate.
Yeah,
really was so unusual. I'm like, is he from Australia? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Obviously,
because of what they say later in the minute, it was so forced in the dialogue just so that they could come up with that following line.
Exactly. I mean, that was it. The have it your way, mate.
But at the same time, so yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It is forced. One thing that I really liked about it, though, is we're right back into what makes Zira such an endearing character. That she's not upset by the banana. She's not upset by the bad comb over. She's not upset by any of it. What she's upset by, she's not his mate. She's Corny's mate.
Relationship.
And this movie already has so many examples of what the previous film was lacking, which is the understanding of the logic of the characters, the motivations of the characters. And here it is on display again, where she is bothered by the things that truly matter to her. I love that moment. Yes, that's a silly line and a way to deliver it, but I love her response. I just love her.
Yeah.
This is totally off, a little bit off. When she smacks the banana out of his hand, we actually have to spend the time watching him walk out of the enclosure. Yeah. I don't know why we spent that moment, but as he's walking from the cage and going up some stairs, you kind of wonder sometimes if they've built this set, if they're on location somewhere. I mean, the detail in a lot of the stuff, I assume that it's on location. But as he walks by and goes up the stairs, there's this metal kind of locker in the corner, and there's this random antique wooden suitcase sitting on top of that, like a little chest.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of chest up there. So that was my first indication that they probably didn't prop that. They're actually on location somewhere. I mean, I assume they were.
I always thought that was a set, but it's even if it's a set or a practical location, that's odd.
Who would put a wooden kind of suitcase chest box on top of a locker as a prop? The sheets on the corkboard, the harnesses, the food, the clipboards, all of the fire extinguisher, all of that could easily be a set. But that one little piece of chest just sitting on top of that locker, I'm like, they got to be on location. Like, we'll just leave it there.
I can see, much like the mate setup, could be a forced setup for some point. They have to escape and they've got to throw clothes into a suitcase and then get out of there. I mean, it may be for a later purpose. I don't know.
And, you mentioned him walking away and that it stays with it for a while. The one thing I actually like about that is this film doesn't feel the need like Beneath did to just immediately cram new information. It lets the moment breathe. So the character has a minute to stew on what's been said to her. And I think that's why when she shows that she's upset and Cornelius asks her, it works because we've had a moment to kind of digest it and we kind of see what she's dealing with.
I suppose we do need to see him leave so that they could have their conversation. Otherwise, they would not be able to talk. So but it was just kind of a moment of like watching him walk.
But that was a long shot where it started in the previous minute of following the guard around, giving the banana, petting Zira, leaving.
Well, there are moments like that later in the week too, where I thought that, and I think this moment has tons of those where it just kind of lingers for a little bit. But I don't want to knock Ted Post for what he did in Beneath. I really think the way he directed that is indicative of that the studio was pressuring him to, come on, get it going. Make something that's this. And it was always that feeling. And I think when you're doing that to a director, that's what they direct. This one, they're taking time. They understand the characters. They understand the moments they're letting them play. And I really, really like the exchange this week.
after he walks out, we get this great shot of the three of them.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are moments in the movies where I'm like, oh, I'm not watching this on TV. This is cinematic. And this random little shot of these three characters, and you've got I don't think he's been named yet. You've got one unnamed ape. He's sitting down and he's kind of glaring at where the guard just left. Right. We've got Zira, who is kind of still upset over her situation. She's kind of in the forefront. And then we've got Cornelius in the back. And if you look, he's about to interact with her, right? We know from this minute. But you see him looking at her because he's more concerned about what she's about to do and what she's thinking. I thought it was just kind of a nice setup.
You're really right, because that's a really wonderfully staged shot from this perspective of
field.
Well, and camera direction also, because unnamed ape with Zira, who's looking screen left, and Corny's looking screen right at her, it creates that complexity of dual sight lines that say everything in that moment.
No, it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous shot.
Yeah. It's nice to see when the studio trusts what they've got and let this director take the time with it.
Yeah, and the editor could have easily taken out the guard walking out to save just 2 seconds of this moment, but it was so needed.
So the big thing that we need to talk about too, did we really get into, and we may have done this last week, was Sal Mineo? I mean, that's obviously Sal Mineo we've got here. And
we talked about him in the credits, right?
And so we really get some of his first interaction with them. And I think right away he shows what a beautiful asset he is as an actor, because just like what you got with, oh my God, now Zayas, his actor's name is escaping me because I want it in my mind.
If you hadn't
Maurice Evans. Ooh, there it was. Woo!
Feel better?
Yeah.
You need a couple minutes to yourself?
I do.
All right.
Maurice Evans in the first film was so wonderful in that role. And I think even in this one, Sal Mineo shows that when you put somebody that can really do something beneath that makeup, yeah, some of his lines already are a little ham-fisted, kind of let's explain the world kind of thing. But still, you can see, it's almost like watching Kim and Roddy behind that makeup. The eyes are working, the mouth is working. He does a great job with it.
For me, this moment when Cornelius, is basically, so before we get to Sal Mineo's character, just a moment when Cornelius starts talking to Zira and says, I think they're trying to be kind, and Zira's upset. The cage stinks of a gorilla, that kind of moment. If you notice, Sal Mineo's ape character is actually looking down at the ground and maybe a little bit off to the side. He's not engaged in what they're going. And you could either take that as the actor is not supposed to be prominent at this moment in the scene, or the actor is like a friend avoiding a couple's quarrel and looking away.
That's a good catch.
I took that moment of the fact that he's not paying attention. He's kind of listening, but he's not paying attention.
He's giving them their
he's
space.
Awkward. It's awkward for him because they're having this little kind of back and forth, and he's like looking down. Or it may not be his time to actually engage the camera.
Or a little bit of all.
Or a little bit of all that. Zira's next comment, Cornelius, where are we, what happened, gives Sal Mineo's character the opportunity to talk about what he knows. So let's talk about the fact that when we were on the future, when we were in the future, it was the Flintstone style apes with a little bit of metallurgy and guns.
They had guns and carts and prisons.
They managed to get a spacecraft out and fly
it out and see the destruction of Earth. So not only are they're going back farther than Beneath the Planet of the Apes. They're going because they had to leave before Heston blew up the world to be in outer space to see the destruction. So what was the the impetus for them to be in outer space to begin with? Because you can't just say, hey, we need to fly because they're about to blow up the world. Because
they don't know
take some time. Yeah, they're not aware of those events.
Those characters, and that is a very good point. Those characters have no reason to believe that doom is impending.
Is imminent, yeah.
True.
And
they're just monkeying around with the spacecraft.
Hey, you knew that had to come out.
That'll be it for this minute.
But we all know why this happens, because Arthur B. Jacobs says, we need more sequels. And it's a genius concept, but that is a very open plot hole.
Yeah, that's a big plot hole that you drive a truck through. Yeah.
Right.
So Unnamed Ape says, in some fashion, I lack the intellect to know precisely how. We have traveled from Earth's future to Earth's past. And Cornelius says, but we saw the Earth destroyed. And I suppose I'll save some more of this for the next minute. But this is basically letting the audience know how they got where they are. Zira's question is more for the audience, necessarily for the three of them. But I definitely want to talk about where these apes are in terms of seeing modern society.
Right.
Yeah.
and where they came from and why